All right, I don't know if we. So I think the whole first half of the show wasn't on YouTube, which really sucks. But you know, if you're joining us on YouTube now, with the Beat Cops Guide will. That sucks, man. I had this all set up. We'll get it right next time.
No, we won't. We'll never get it right. We'll never do it. We're bad at that part of it.
You know, what's funny is I sat down here yesterday and made sure that everything was hooked up correctly. And then when I went on it today, I thought it was all hooked up to the same spot. But apparently, you got to go through the entire process of setting it up. You can't just set it up and leave it. Because what happened is it automatically, I guess, after a while, logged this off of YouTube. And it automatically, after a while, defaulted to the my personal Facebook page instead of to the Beat Cops Guide webpage. So I, I'm sorry. I'll try. We're getting a little bit more right. I mean, we've got the. I hopefully got.
Well,
the
I started
audio.
a watch party, so.
Yeah. So if you're on YouTube, if you're joining us on YouTube, you can see the first part of it on Facebook on the Dave Haynes. Just look for Dave Haynes, and I'll probably attach it to Beat Cops Guide if I can.
I think we really need to market ourselves as the worst podcast in Chicago. That's where, or maybe we should call ourselves Furnace Talk, or Chris's Problems with Tires. We can call it that.
Well, now I'm getting messages all of a sudden.
I'll just talk to you guys while Dave reads his phone.
No, there's people calling from Facebook. But anyway, so that sucks.
Well, I went this week to the Dandy Crown, which is in 4,000 block of Milwaukee. Not the 4,000. Like the 1,000 block of Milwaukee. It's downtown. And it is a sort of kind of a British joint. It's not really a pub. It's... Well, it's... My phone is ringing, and it's my son, and I can't answer it. So I don't know what to do right now. Hey, I'm on the radio.
So he's going to answer it. That's right. Hey, what the hell? If you're,
you know what? I want people to know that they're here. They're part of my life. Okay, they're involved. You're embedded here in the land of Bull Garlington. I was currently wearing a T-shirt. I'm wearing a T-shirt with my face on it, which I did not do on purpose. I did that because I just reach into the drawer and I find whatever I find and put it on. And which is interesting because in just a few moments, I'm going to have to go to the grocery store and I'm going to go through line wearing a shirt with my name, with my face on it, which is going to be interesting. I'll see what happens. Maybe somebody notices. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
So anyway, the Dandy Crown.
Yeah.
And it's a very small bar, and it is and it's just it's really really like, I don't know, cute's not the right word, but it's kind of around cute somehow. It's they have a great whiskey selection. They have a little room upstairs that was really nice. I went there for a cognac tasting, and that was fantastic. And boy, can you just I had some cognac. A 40-year-old cognac that was aged in these Japanese oak barrels that are made from oak trees that are 200 years old. I felt bad because I'm like, oh, no, shut up. That's
you
cool.
You just destroyed the climate.
I know. It's like I'm killing a tree, but damn, did it taste good, man. It was very, very good.
How much was it?
They didn't talk to me about prices. It wasn't that kind of thing.
Oh.
I was helping a sales guy put together his patter, you know?
Yeah.
He was kind of booting it up right there.
All right. On my Facebook page, Kim Chelos is there. I think she's in Florida.
She's in Florida now, yeah.
She says to say hello and asks why we're smoking pipes. We have,
because they're better. That's why.
As far as I'm concerned, in the wintertime, I always smoke less cigars because it's cold and my wife won't let me smoke cigars in the house, so I don't want to sit outside just to have a cigar. And she doesn't mind the pipe, so I have pipes. But I actually, this year, I don't think I've had a cigar in the last 2 months.
Yeah, I had my first one on Sunday. It had been a long time.
Just
Dave did it was maybe the middle of last year. You kind of went pipe.
Yeah, well, I started finding really nice tobaccos that I like.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper. It's,
In the long run, it's way cheaper. And here's a cool thing: according to the federal government, smoking a pipe, if you do it correctly, which means don't inhale that crap, all right, is not as bad for you as other tobacco products.
And a poll done by Monmouth and CNN shows that smoking a pipe is much cooler than smoking cigarettes or cigars.
And oftentimes, if you're smoking a pipe and you're sitting next to someone else who's smoking a pipe, if you're wearing a giant blue hat, you're already cooler.
Yeah. And I could be wrong on who did that poll. You have to look it up.
It was the Garlington Institute of Garlington. Is what it is.
All right, so do we go anywhere? Did we go anywhere else to eat this week? I didn't.
Well, I mean, I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I went to.
That doesn't count.
I went. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it does, man. Because
we talked about Tilted Kilt.
I went to the Tilted Kilt. Thank
Talked
God my
about-
wife doesn't watch this broadcast.
Talk about Buffalo Wild Wings. There was one other one. I'm sorry.
I was at City's Edge. Always a pleasure.
What'd you have at City's Edge?
I had ribs finally because I
Oh.
went there before and they were out. So I went there and had ribs. The ribs are great. It's a dry rub, but you can get sauce with it, and it is very, very good. Their beer selection is really good. Their service is great. It should be
City's
my
Edge,
neighborhood
on
bar.
Devon and Central.
Yeah, Devon and Central. Used to be Mowers Irish Pub, and somebody came in. Here's what I learned: there are companies that go into old Irish pubs and rip everything out and resell it to people that are starting new Irish pubs. So if you're sitting in an Irish, like let's say we're at Vaughn's, all right, here in our neighborhood, used to be an old German bar, but if you go in now, you look around, this is an Irish bar, and that means that they bought all the stuff to turn it into an Irish bar. And so those booths and the bar part and all the things that look Irish have probably been in 3 or 4 other bars before they made it there.
You know, I always wanted at Devon and Central. I'm sorry, Devon and Milwaukee in Chicago. There used to be the old toboggan slides. I don't know why I'm thinking about this now, other than you mentioned
Well, there's
Irish.
snow.
You mentioned Irish pubs, but there used to be these toboggan. When I was a kid, we'd go toboggan, riding toboggans at Devon and Milwaukee. And years ago, they tore down the slides because, first of all, in Chicago, with the way the weather works, it's either absolutely freezing with no snow on the ground, or
Yeah.
it's
40 degrees and there's 9 inches of snow.
yeah, it's a weird thing. But it was very rare that the toboggan slides would work. Although now, over the years, they kind of fell into disrepair and eventually they got torn down. Nowadays, with the way they can make snow, they probably could have figured out some way to do it.
They have a ski
They had enough money.
slope in Dubai.
But right, yeah. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because the field house next to the toboggan slides is famous and it's still there. And
I drive by that all the time.
As a kid, I have fond memories of going sledding because it's also a sledding hill, which is still there, and it used to be the toboggan slides. And you'd go out and you'd get freezing, and you would go into the field house. The field house would have hot chocolate, but they had this huge middle of the room fireplace.
Ah, okay.
And it's in the middle of the room. It's probably 8 feet around, and they have they put the wood in the middle of it, and the flames go up, and there's a chimney right in the center of the room, and so you could stand all the way around this fire and put your gloves on. The brick.
It's got to still be there, right?
It's still there, yeah.
Oh, we should rent that
it's a
place.
fantastic, cool place. And I'm like,
Oh, it's warm.
if I could buy that place and turn it into a bar, I think that would be phenomenal.
Oh, man, yeah.
You have a big bar. You have a couple of chairs.
What would you call it?
Well, I don't know. What did they call bars in the old days where you would
Taverns?
Nah, but I mean like the old Middle English places where you could actually sleep upstairs or something.
An inn?
An inn, yeah. I don't know. Dave's Inn. I don't know.
Dave's Inn.
I don't know.
No, I don't. No, it doesn't. No.
No.
Anyway, that's our show.
All right.
And,
So, well, we don't have any other wrestling. We can move to video.
That's what I did.
We only got 10 minutes. Let's talk about video. Did you see any videos? I saw the gentleman.
Jack Diddley. I did. Okay, yeah. All right, I did.
Oh, and
you first.
I'm sorry.
You're first.
Wait, I have a very quick one. Before we get into the gentleman, I have a very quick one. A few weeks ago, Bull brought up an idea about Star Wars. And I've been meaning to talk about this, but since we didn't have a live show, I didn't bring it up. And we started kind of bouncing ideas off, but he brought it up about how they should do fake documentaries about Star Wars, like about how the weapons for the stormtroopers pull up and to the right because they gave out a lousy contract. That son of a bitch, Jon Favreau, stole your idea.
No way.
Swear to God.
No way. Jon Favreau listens to our show?
No, yes, he does, and he stole.
Fuck
our
you, Jon
ideas.
Favreau.
Yeah.
That is copyright material. My wife's a lawyer.
No, he didn't do a full-on documentary, but there was a scene in episode 8 of The Mandalorian. Did you saw episode 8?
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, we're up to date on Mandalorian. In episode 8, after the stormtroopers capture Baby Yoda, and they're waiting to go into town, they're sitting out on the edge of the desert or whatever, and they're shooting at cans. You remember? And the guy's like, he's shooting at the can, he's missing, and he's looking at his gun, and he's tapping it, like, and he shoots again, and he's missing it, and it was like he's hitting in the same spot but missing the can, and I'm like, that's Paul's idea.
My idea, damn it. I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great. You just do the documentary, just like a full-on, like Vice level investigative journalism thing about the company that makes all the firearms for the stormtroopers. Can't hit anything, and their armor it brings the laser in.
Yeah, you're wearing bright white armor that doesn't protect you.
Might as well have a target over your heart.
Exactly. There's
Stupid
a reason.
Star Wars.
There's a reason why the British stop wearing red coats when they go into battle.
That's right. So I was kind of desperate for a movie the other day, and I was just I have a routine every day at lunch. I sit down in the living room. I leave my beautiful office. I go in the living room. I have something to eat. I watch a little YouTube or TV, and then I go back to work. So yesterday, I sat down. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to watch a movie. And so I'm looking. I can't find anything. And I see this one called Motherless Brooklyn, based on a book. And it is Ed Norton and everybody else. The cast is incredible. And it's a 1950s detective thing. Actually, 1940s detective thing. And I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be good. It's fantastic. It is perfect film noir. Absolutely
Motherless
perfect.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, absolutely perfect film noir. But here's the trick. Here's what I did, and I'm learning this. I turned all the color off, so I watched it in black and white. It's amazing. Like, it makes it 1,000 times better. It's like you've discovered a movie from the 50s that you didn't know existed. That's how good this is as a film noir. The story is incredible because it comes from a novel that was award-winning, beautiful novel. But the film is absolutely top-notch. And I've done this before. I did it with Blade Runner. Turns out Blade Runner is a beautiful black and white movie. And I did it with L.A. Confidential.
Oh yeah, I love L.A. Confidential.
Yeah, L.A. Confidential is if you watch it in black and white, that movie is as if they shot it in the 50s. That's how good it is. The director of that actually wanted it to be as if he had gone back in time and used the same equipment and everything to film the show and the same techniques to film it, and that's why it's like that. But I got to tell you, man, Motherless Brooklyn is worth watching. It's really good. The music is incredible. The simulacrum aspect of it is fantastic. Alec Baldwin is in it. Bruce Willis is in it. What's the guy, the Green Hornet from Spider-Man? What's his name? Willem Dafoe is in it. And Billy Carnevale, who is still underrated as an actor, from Boardwalk, is in it. And it's just the point of view is different. The lead character has a wonderful flaw. He's got Tourette's syndrome. But he doesn't know that he has Tourette's. Like, there's not a name for it, and it's just it could so easily have been a terrible comedy, but it's not. It's really, really good. I know that I'm doing a lot of uhs and ands and everything, and probably should write this down at some point. But for the love of God, watch that movie. It's worth every second.
All right. Well, I went and saw The Gentleman in the studio or in the theater this week.
What the hell is that?
The Gentleman is a crime thriller starring Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah, it's
Charlie Hunnam,
Guy Ritchie, right?
Guy Ritchie movie,
Yeah.
and Matthew McConaughey, and it is I had a lot of fun, and there's a couple of interesting things about this movie. First of all, the story is fairly formulaic. It's a crime thriller. It's about a guy who's played Mickey Pearson, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, who has built up a huge weed empire in England, and is now trying to get out. So he wants to sell all his stuff off to some other criminal organization. And there's a little bit of discussion about, well, is it worth the same amount of money because it's going to be legal soon and this all that. So it's a story itself is a little formulaic, but first of all, the actors are just unbelievably enjoyable.
Yeah,
and they take it and they look. It's cool to watch a movie where everybody looks like they're having fun making it, and they're all acting kind of against type. Colin Farrell is in it. He plays a coach. He coaches all these kids.
That's not Colin Farrell.
Yeah, and he's like a nerdy with big thick glasses, and he's he's kind of a very down, sort of he plays down. He's not out there yelling, screaming. It was, with the exception of Matthew McConaughey, who plays the same character Matthew McConaughey plays all the time.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. And but Hugh Grant plays this corrupt reporter who's trying to extort money out of the criminal organization. Charlie Hunnam,
Who?
he was in Sons of Anarchy. He was Jackson Sons of Anarchy, and he plays
The guy with the scar?
No, that's Chibs. I forget his real name, but this guy's the young handsome guy. And so he plays Mickey Pearson's sort of right hand man, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of comedy. Michelle Dockery, who's she was in Downton Abbey.
She's great.
Yeah, she played Mickey Pearson's wife and was phenomenal. So it's I just had an enjoyable time, and I'll tell you, part of the reason why I had so much fun, the audience in the theater. There was a couple of guys that were just, I don't know if they were smoking dope while they were watching it.
No, I'm
but
sure they were.
They were laughing at all the funny scenes, but laughing really loud. It actually added to the movie a little bit. It wasn't like somebody making noise in a movie. It was pretty funny.
One of my earliest editors is listening to us right now.
Really?
Yeah, the guy I worked for.
He hasn't improved.
Yeah. Hey Sal, how you doing? This guy said one of the coolest things to me one time. I was like, I'd kind of like to come on staff at the newspaper, and I had left the newspaper. I was writing freelance, and he goes, "Well, it could happen because I can teach somebody how to be a reporter, but you can't teach somebody how to write." And he goes, "You know how to write." And I was like, I was walking on clouds for a week after that. I still think about it sometimes. It was the best compliment I ever got.
That's nice.
Anyway, that's our show.
All right, one more thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I was reading a story today in the Daily Caller about a new HBO miniseries coming out called, starting next month, March 16th, called The Plot Against America.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I love that book.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I read it.
And you know what really pissed me off about this story? Didn't mention the book. They didn't mention that it was based on a book called The Plot Against America, and now I should have looked up the author.
Well, they'll do that. They'll do that in the marketing and stuff. But why would they mention it in the show?
No, I'm talking about in this story on the Daily Caller.
Oh.
They're writing a story about this, and The Plot Against America is essentially a counterfactual, alternate history book about what would have happened if Charles Lindbergh had run for president in 1940 and beat
Jesus Christ,
Franklin Roosevelt. Which was actually, it almost happened. It was, had Charles Lindbergh
he would have won.
He would have won.
Oh, yeah, he was
He
super
chose
popular.
not to run. He was a superhero at that time. And it's very interesting. And he was also a big fan of Germany's. He was a big fan of Hitler.
That was weird, right?
It was because of their Air Force.
You should watch that. We should watch that. One episode of that and one episode of The Man in the High Castle. I keep going back and forth like that.
Yeah. So that's an interesting video coming out, and
I'm telling you, there is a Noir resurgence, and that TV show, Babylon Berlin, which if you have not watched that on German Netflix, holy God, go watch that show. It's the way they resurrect the mid-30s Berlin is insanely good. Just before World War II, and then The Man in the High Castle, same period in a weird way, just after World War II. But there's a lot of this simulacrum stuff that's going on, this verisimilitude TV that's happening like that. And I think
I'm a big
there's-
alternate history fan. So.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that really is our show. And
We done already?
yeah, it's
We
been
didn't
an
talk
hour.
about Jack.
Yeah. So
I don't want to go.
I would, I would. First of all, I apologize to people on YouTube that the first half of the show I don't think went over on YouTube. We will get it right next week. We're trying a new thing, so hopefully we'll get it right. Also, I accidentally put this on my timeline instead of on the Beat Cops Guy
It's okay.
Facebook page.
Be
but-
friends with Dave.
Yeah.
I want to plug a business before we go. We're not getting money from these guys. All right, this is not an endorsement thing in that regard, but there's a new company called Bookshop .org, and they are a independent. Think of them as an independent Amazon. That doesn't mean Amazon's independent too. Think of them as an alternate Amazon, but they only work with real book publishers like Ingram and Baker and Taylor through small bookstores. They get all of their books from small bookstores, independent bookstores, and every time you buy a book, a little bit of the money goes towards a main fund for helping independent bookstores. So you could get, for instance, I don't know, my book, The Full English, or The Gravity Harp, by going to bookshop.org and looking up Bull Garlington, or any book you want to get. If you're not going to get it in a library, which you should, visits to the library in 2019 eclipsed people going to the movies.
Wow.
More people went to libraries in 2019 than went to movies. But you should buy stuff on bookshop.org.
All right, and please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe down there. We're going to start doing some more shorter videos, plus the hour long podcast on Fridays.
Did not feel like an hour.
It did. It was an hour. All right. So have a good week. We'll see you next week.